good morning. Let's get started. Today's session is on the topic building multilingual sites in Drupal. So my name is Anjali Rathod. I work as a software engineer at Accelerant. I have been a Drupal developer for more than 3 years now. I work on custom modules, I work on custom themes, and also contribute to the Drupal actively. That's about me. Let's have a look at the session's agenda today. So we'll be covering these points. We'll first try to understand why we should go multilingual in the first place, and then I have a demo walkthrough video that I've pre-recorded, and we'll see how we can implement the same in Drupal, and we'll also see how we can add a non-supported language, what are the best practices regarding localization, performance, and SEO. We will be talking about the future-proofing strategies when we implement the multilingual functionality, and we'll try to understand why Drupal is a powerful choice for going global, and finally how we can contribute to Drupal. So yeah, let's get started. So why should we go multilingual in the first place? The first point is increase trust and credibility. So by presenting your offerings in the own language, you are symbolically reaching out to the customers in a welcoming manner. Multilingual websites builds trust between you and your customers. People from different languages and regions may have different expectations when it comes that how they want to interact with your products or services. If your site is available in multilingual languages, people can find out about your company's reputation and see how well you perform in different parts of the world. This makes them more confident, and they trust you a better way with giving their personal data to you, and it overall increases the customer satisfaction. The second point is reducing bounce and improving conversion rates. So according to the CAC's study, Can't Read, Won't Buy study, like 70% of the users spend their time in the website in their own language. So having a multilingual website helps because this decreases the number of exits that a user might do on finding that the website is not present in their own language. Hence, the decrease in this bounce rate will inversely affect the conversion rates. The third point is boost search engine visibility. So if you have your website translated in different languages, this basically helps in the visibility of the search engines in different parts of the world and in different languages when the user is trying to search search something. The fourth point is clear and precise communication. So there are contents which have different meanings. The content in different languages have different meaning as compared to the one that we try to understand in our own language. So if we have them translated, this will be a bit more precise and clear to the customer. And the last point is cost-effective marketing. So content marketing is 60% cheaper as compared to the other marketing strategies that we implement, and it also provides 3 times as lead. If someone is planning to target the international market, it is very much important to have a multilingual website. So we'll be going through this small walkthrough video that I've created, trying to understand how we can implement multilingual like how to implement the same in Drupal. I'll just decrease the speed a bit because I'll give a walkthrough. Thank you. Yeah. So this is the homepage of the website, and these are the article content types with different languages and a little bit about them. Um, Firstly, we need to go to the extents page, and these are the core modules provided by Drupal that will facilitate this whole translation process, and we need to enable them. As we enable, we can see that the site has only one language, so we can add multiple languages from here. So we'll be adding a couple of languages, and we can see that the default translations that were there have already been imported. And we'll do the same for different languages. We'll be adding a final language, which is Pashto. And from here we can select which language we want as a default language for our site. The next, let's explore the detection and selection page. This is basically a configuration page from where we can determine in which manner the rules should be followed for a user to see the page in a particular language. We have different options like whether it should be the browser setting or the user account settings or the session variable that are stored. So we can basically drag and drop these options, and that preference will be set while detecting the language in which the user will see a particular page. So next we'll try to add a custom language. So say I want to add the language Dari. It is basically a Persian language that is spoken in the Afghanistan region, and we see that it is not present. So we have a custom language option, and we provide the language code for it and the name of the language. And we also select which direction this language is, whether right to left. So this one is right to left, so we add that custom language. We see that there are no translations imported for it because it is a new language that we have installed. The next step will be seeing trying to add a language switcher block. So under the block layout, we can select the region where we want to place the language switcher block. And we can click on save, and the block will be placed. So this is the language switcher block, and it has the list of all the languages that we have added. In the URL, you can see when we click on different languages, the language codes are being displayed. The next step will try to translate this content node. So basically we have a translate tab, and let's do some configuration changes to enable the translation. So under the region and language settings, we can see the content, language and translation. Over here we can select the different content types that we want the translation to be enabled: taxonomy, terms, users. So right now let's enable translation for article, and here we can select the fields for which we want the translations to be enabled. So we can select the file as well, so that the image present in the articles are also translated. So now we can see this translate tab, and let's translate. We can see the list of languages for which we want this node to be translated. And when we click on add, this is basically the form in which we can provide translation for. I've selected Hindi, so Hindi language. There are different contrib modules as well, which helps facilitate this process, but I'm using the Google Translate right now. Also, like for demo purpose, I'm just copy pasting the translations, but the best practice is that we should verify the sentences that are translated, that it is localized, it is meaningful after being translated. And finally, we are going to translate the URL alias as well, so that it is like translated 100% for SEO purpose. So we can see that for the Hindi version of this page basically, and it is translated. Again, if we switch with the language switcher, we'll be going to the default English version of this page. Similarly, we can add translation for other languages as well. Now we will have a quick overlook on how we can translate the user interface messages that we see in Drupal along with the config translations. So when we had imported different languages, we saw that some number of translations have been imported. So these are the translations that were imported by default. And there are the empty fields as well for which the translation isn't there, and we can provide one for them. Using this drop down, we can navigate through the different languages that are there. We can check if something is missing, and we can provide the translation for the same. So let's, so that was for Hindi, this is for Spanish. And let's try to add for the custom language that we had just created. So we got the translation for status message in the Dari language, and we can save that. So anytime there is any interface text showing status message, we'll be seeing the translated version for it in Dari language. So similarly, we can add configuration language as well. Configuration language are those that are seen, the text that are seen on the config pages. And it is important to translate them as well if we have different roles that are handling the website from different regions of the globe. So let's try to add for the language switcher blog that we had. We can do this in a more meaningful manner. I'm just copy pasting the titles for the demo purpose. Yeah. So now we'll take a look at the best practices that one needs to keep in mind while implementing the multilingual functionality. The first one would be making sure that the languages that we are adding, which direction they follow. Right now we added the new language Dari that followed the right to left layout. And we should also verify that the theme that we are using is compatible with the right to left layouts, and whether they are fully responsive with it. So this basically means that the mirror layout should be there. Like the core themes like Olivero support them, but if you are using the custom themes, then we need to make sure that the mirror layout is functioning. Then the second would be localization best practices. So as I said, that just translating the content is not important. It's about making sure that the content makes sense to the user when they read it in their own language. So we should find meaning while translating. So I've just put a small example like piece of cake. Does it resonate globally? So avoid using that kind of idioms. And the third one would be regional variations. So there are different dialects for a single language when it is spoken across different regions. So for example, Spanish in Spain can differ from the Mexican Spanish. So it is important that we detect the region from where the user is accessing the site, and we show the correct dialect for that. Here are some other examples that we need to keep in mind, like the date formats and the measurements that we need to translate when the user is accessing the website from different regions, the currencies as well. So now let's take a look at the how we can perform like optimization of the website. We very well know that caching is important, and for that we can implement the dynamic page cache and varnish, and we can also implement lazy loading of the translated data to reduce the unnecessary overheads. And setting up localized CDNs will drastically improve the speed in which the website is being loaded. So CDN, like the content delivery networks, are basically a network of servers that are distributed globally. So basically, when a user is trying to access your website from a region that is far away from the main server, when we have the CDN set up, it helps that user to access that piece of content from the CDN instead and get a faster response. So translating the website for the SEO purpose, so the first point is implementing href lang tags. So href lang tags are the tags that are present in the header region. These basically help the search engine to understand that from where the user is trying to access the page and which language the user should see that page in. So that adding that to the pages will help in the SEO purpose. The second point is multilingual sitemaps. So we have XML modules, the simple sitemap modules. So if we generate different sitemaps for different languages, that can also help boost the SEO performance. The third and the important point is having localized URLs. So we can have either subdomains, for example, the French language .example.com, or otherwise we can have the subdirectories that is having prefixes for different languages. This again helps with the SEO performance and identifying which language should be displayed for a user. And the last point is keyword localization. So basically, whenever a user tries to search in the search engine with different keywords, it is important that when we translate that keyword, we should pay importance on localizing it to that particular region so that the results are more accurate. Okay, so now that we have come to know that how we can set up our website, multilingual website, and what are the best practices and the performance and SEO parts, let's talk about how we can maintain the future proofing of it. The first that I think that is we can implement the smart automation, like we can integrate different workflows for the content editors, and there can be different review processes and the translate processes, because just translating, if we include any contrib modules that helps facilitate the translation process on its own, it is always important that there is a human intervention to check whether the translated content is correct or not as per the localization practice. So implementing workflows over here will be helpful. And the second point is dynamic translation updates. We can update the languages that we have added so that imports can happen regularly for the pre-translated languages that are present in Drupal. And the third point is we can implement the IP-based detections with the help of the IP language negotiation, and there are other modules as well. So with this we can more accurately get to know that where the user is trying to access the website from, and with the previous steps that we saw in the SEO slide, those factors can enable the correct language page display. And also this is one amazing module that I came across while trying to work on this particular session. So the layout builder asymmetric translation modules helps greatly with the translation when the layout builder, like the pages are made using the layout builder module. They help with the RTL functionalities also. So what makes Drupal a powerful choice for global sites? Like how we saw that the core modules, language, content translation, interface, and configuration translations, these four modules helped us to translate our website in less than 5 minutes. So this is one of the main reasons that it is easy for us to make our website multilingual. So the language module, as we saw, we were able to add, configure different languages with the help of that. In the content translation module, we were able to select the content types for which the translation can be made. And also with the interface and configuration modules, we were able to translate the interface and configurations respectively. And why Drupal stands out is that the modular flexibility of Drupal helps the users to make as much as customization as possible and have the translation working seamlessly. And again, we can add different workflows for the whole process to be smooth for the content editors. Then from the coding perspective, we have the inbuilt method for Twigs for JavaScript files and the PHP files. So these are also helpful if you are trying to do any custom practice. How can, like we are here, Drupal is open source, so it is always good that we contribute. So we can contribute to the multilingual side of the Drupal as well. We can contribute to the modules that help facilitate the multilingual functionality, or we can also help with the Drupal translations. We can add translations to different keywords which are then being imported while adding a new language, or we can also contribute by reviewing the translations which someone else has added, so that we have the correct translation imported. So these are the different ways in which we can contribute. Okay, so before closing, I just found this nice quote. So if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. So this is why it's very important to have websites translated. Yep. Okay. So we've come to an end. Are there any questions, or if someone has come across any website or any experience while creating multilingual sites, so you can share that as well. Yes.
What is your biggest challenge when building multilingual sites in Drupal?
So one of the challenges that I faced was with one projects we had different domains. So basically handling the different domains and languages, and again mapping the correct language to that particular domain. So that was not that big, but then yeah, that was a challenge. Yes.
How do you usually solve the problem with synchronizing translations between production staging website or two different websites that have the kind of the same content that should be, not the content, but interface that should be translated?
So it is always like when the translations are directly added to the production side, then we can always have a database dump to the previous like test and development versions of it. And when adding to the different websites, we can export the translations and import using the different.
No automation, just manually export reports.
I'm sorry?
No automation for this, so just by hand export from this website, import from that website.
Yes.
Because the problem is that if you have different translation teams, one team can translate 5 things on that website, and another team 5 things on that website. We should somehow.
Yes, yes.
That's the challenge.
That's the reason why localization should be paid focus to. Like, if there's correct localization, then there's a chance that there might not be different. Like the difference will be there, but then not that to that great extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay if you don't know the answer to this question, but if you have a multilingual site where you use different URLs for different languages, which one does Drupal treat as a canonical URL?
Which one does Drupal?
Which one does Drupal use as a canonical URL, and can you configure that?
So, are you asking, if I'm getting this right, are you asking that how does Drupal recognize which language the page should be displayed in?
Which one does Drupal specify as a canonical URL?
Canonical URL. So, the subdirectories that we added, that the code that is displayed in the URL, that helps. I'm not sure that if that answers your question. You can re-ask the question. It's just that it's very difficult to hear your voice. If you can pass the mic.
Hi. Yeah. I was just wondering, if you have a site with multiple languages,
Okay.
which one does Drupal treat as a canonical URL? The canonical URL is the one that Google will use to show in the search results.
Yeah, so by default, the language that we've set as the default language, Drupal always tries to display the web page first in that language, and then with the different preferences that we have set in the language detection and selection page, whether it's from the browser setting or the cache variables that are stored or the user account preferences. So, and then that helps in Drupal detect which language is to be displayed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
You have like drastical changes on the UI when switching languages.
Right.
How do you usually handle that?
So the first thing is that if the language direction remains the same, then like the
I'm actually talking about like it says
right to left.
blocks don't display, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. So in that case, the language, the layout builder asymmetric translation module that we just saw, that actually helps with this type of requirement where we don't want a particular block to be displayed in a certain language. So this can be achieved with the help of that module.
have you done anything where you have a condition that you apply a style sheet from this? I just want to see if
Okay.
people have done it in a different way that I did as well.
Okay, so I haven't actually done with the stylings, different stylings for different languages, but then earlier the block things can be achieved, and the images also we can mention the styles, like the size of the images that we want, but I haven't done that.
And the second question is, when performing a search, does it always work? Like, let's say when we are using Spanish and English, right?
Yeah.
If there are like similar words, and when we are on the English side, can we also make sure we are using the same view that only the English results come into the key search, or like does the Spanish one also?
I think that when you are performing a search, the language in which you are searching, yes, you want to add? Yeah. So the language in which you are searching, that is the one that will first come up in the result, because that is how SEO works. So if you're
I'm not talking about SEO, I'm talking about Drupal search.
okay, Drupal search.
Searching inside the site,
Right.
I just want to make sure when I'm in /en,
Mm-hmm.
right? Although the Spanish content might have some English words, right? Only the English ones come out. Does that automatically happen, or?
If you're on the English version of the page, it should display the English ones. That is what I think. Yeah, but it should display the English ones as rather than displaying the different languages. Yes.
You spoke about using the mirror layout when we use right to left languages. Can you talk more about it? What is it?
So like if we have different block layout architectures, like the different components that we have, when we read English, so it's from left to right, and then we have image placed accordingly. So the mirroring should happen when a user switches to the right to left. So accordingly, the content should, or the images should be like, it's basically we are looking at the mirror when we change the layouts. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question.
Yes.
That is, when you're reviewing content,
Okay.
what would be the best practices just for reviewing content? What, and generally speaking, what would be the criteria?
As I said that I just showed you the manual process of translating using the Google Translate, but then there is a G-Translate module as well, that is a contrib module, and if we implement that and with a couple of other modules, that helps translating the data. So when you are using that sort of functionality to speed up the process, it's good to have a human process. Like in the workflows, you can add a review process that can be done by a particular user, and only after that process one can reach to the published state.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm working on a multilingual site currently.
Okay.
It has around 25 plus content types, 30 plus locales. The challenge we face is like for non-English locales, when we visit the content revision pages, even after making a change for a single line or single character, it shows the differences for entire body text. I'm not sure if it is because of the lots of HTML or inline styling into that body text. So have you faced this challenge ever?
So you're saying that if you're trying to add translation for a different language and you have made change only to a single line, like what all changes are happening other than?
Yeah, it shows in the differences. It shows like I have changed the entire body. It's like highlighting the entire body of the node, saying that I have changed the entire text. But actually, I just made a single line change.
But is the whole body text being changed?
No, the change happens only on the selected line.
Okay.
But for especially non-English locals, the issue arises.
Okay. So are you talking about the highlight that happens?
Yes, it is on content. When we match two revisions,
Yeah.
On the right hand side, it shows that the entire body text has been changed, and the QA raises the bug.
Okay. So I guess from what I can recall is that whenever we make any change, and if we go to the preview or pages, we see that the whole there's a highlight of the whole text. So I guess that's the default nature of the changes. I'm not sure on this, but I'm just thinking that whenever we change and we see the review page, even if the change is made, I don't think that only that particular line is being highlighted. It's the whole piece of paragraph that gets highlighted.
For English local, it works perfectly.
Okay.
But for non-English only, it shows this behavior.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe the diff is executed for HTML, and HTML has only one long line instead of paragraph. And because of this, it sees only one long line of HTML.
Yeah, but there must be some spaces in between or paragraphs or line breaks. So it is not like the entire body is doesn't have any space.
Interesting.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the questions. It was really good to have you all. I would like to connect with all of you on LinkedIn, so that's the QR code you can scan. Thank you.